I say welcome to stage, Peter Bouckaert, Human Rights Watch Emergencies Director. I want to talk to you about a tweet you made that went super viral. Tell me about what I'm talking about.
So last year, it's actually about a year ago, I was in Hungary covering the refugee crisis. And on my Twitter feed, the picture of Aylan Kurdi came in. It really touched me because I have young children myself and I really identified with the picture. So I tweeted about it and said, just pause for a moment and imagine this is your child. And really at that moment, the picture went absolutely viral and I started getting phone calls from journalists and newspaper editors around the world asking about the picture.
And the picture of Aylan Kurdi, his body was washed up on a beach, and his picture, as you're saying, it spread all across the world and somehow became the picture of the struggle refugees are going through. Did you expect that kind of impact?
When the newspaper editors asked me if they should print a picture, I said absolutely yes, because this is what we're experiencing right now. People are dying in the Mediterranean trying to reach Europe. A lot of children are dying. And it brought about real fast fundamental change. It ran in just about every newspaper around the world. And it's at that moment that European borders started opening up briefly. It's at that moment that Angela Merkel decided that Germany would welcome Syrian refugees. And many people did reach safety after this picture, but especially in Scandinavia, especially in Sweden, it also meant that many young people who were touched by the picture decided that they personally wanted to make a difference. So in the weeks afterwards and continuing to today, we see many young Swedish people volunteering on the beaches of islands like Lesbos, trying to help the people there.
I'm just also curious about your work, because you have visited and are visiting a lot of places that no one of us usually go to. Can you tell me a bit more about your work?
Yes, so I'm the Emergencies Director at Human Rights Watch, and my role is to go to countries where everybody's running away. So I work both in the very high-profile crises like Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, but I also try to draw attention to lesser-known crises in places like the Central African Republic and South Sudan, where we think the world needs to act to try to prevent mass killings.
And we're talking about the picture of Aylan Kurdi. What do you think about just the way that could have spread, and it spread, and the impact that had? How important is it, which is the picture side and the technology side of media, going more digital?
Well, social media has become a very important tool for human rights organizations like Human Rights Watch. We can reach policy leaders directly. I mean, people from David Cameron to Angela Merkel said that this image made them change their mind about the refugee crisis, but it also means we can reach a much broader public. And in many places where I work, there is no traditional media. So social media has allowed us to report the news, to report about the human rights abuses and the situation in places like the Central African Republic without having to rely on the more traditional media, which is finding it much more difficult to send reporters to these places because of the financial crisis in the media.
And what's your name on Twitter, for those who are wondering?
So it's Bouckaert, B-O-U-C-K-A-P. Thank you.
And where will you go next?
So next, I just came from Afghanistan, where I was looking at how the schools that the West built are now being occupied by the military and by the Taliban, so children cannot go to school. I've been working in Venezuela on the health crisis in the country and the fact that the government isn't allowing in humanitarian assistance. And next I will go back to Burma to look at land rights and the struggles that are taking place there for people to try to hold on to their land.
We'll follow you on Twitter. Thank you so much for visiting Express on Stage. Thank you.